Viewers, you're watching the Explosive Exclusive with me, Rahul Shivshankar. For days, all together, you are being told that Hindu hotheads have provoked the minority community into reacting violently on the occasion of Ram Navami and Hanuman Jayanti. Shobha Yatras were provocative, you have been told. They went outside mosques and created mayhem. And that was resented by the minority community. This is what you have been told. The one-sided narrative has been spread like wildfire on social media. On your WhatsApps, you would have got so many forwards, viewers, of videos catching a moment in time. But Times Now's special investigation team from Karoli to Hubli in Karnataka has unearthed facts that seem to suggest that the narrative suffers from several inaccuracies. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, we show you what transpired in Hubli district of Karnataka on the 16th of April. These visuals, viewers, are emblematic, confirm widespread violence, arson, and vandalism. Even policemen were not spared, 12 of them sustaining grievous injuries. Here is what happened. On that ill-fated evening, protests erupted in Hubli after locals demanded strict action against a teen over a social media post. But they soon turned violent. The post was made by a youth named Abhishek Hiramat, who was soon after arrested. But despite the timely action by the police, a section of the Muslim community showed up outside the Old Town police station protesting what the police, they believe, had not done. They wanted instant justice, and the crowd swelled and the protest escalated, leading to stone pelting. But viewers, what the ecosystem doesn't tell you is that shockingly threatening slogans were raised baying for blood via beheading. Of whom? Of the police, of the agencies of the Indian state itself. Viewers, we will decode this video. We will decode this video as we go ahead. But let me tell you, viewers, I want to quickly put on record that Times Now doesn't in any way endorse any of what you're seeing. We also want to advise viewer discretion at this point. It is fundamentally important, viewers, that emotions are not aroused because of what we're going to show you. The contents of the video may be provocative. They are in no way endorsed by Times Now. The purpose of airing this video is to bring hate speech to the notice of authorities so that action can be taken. This is very, very crucial. Now, having added this caveat, let me decode what is happening here. The man in the blue kurta is a cleric. In the video, he is surrounded by a crowd gathered outside the police station raising slogans, demanding further action against the man who posted objectionable posts. The crowd is chanting. The man on the stage is Altaf Halur. Let's keep the nat on that a little bit. The man on stage is Altaf Halur rather, Congress district president. Yes, the Congress district president, the district president of Hubli district, viewers. While speaking to Times Now, he says he was there to pacify the crowds. He was asking them not to make and raise such slogans. The question is, why was he there in the first place? Was he there to whip up a frenzy? Hadn't the police arrested the provocateur already? Was he behind the mass mobilization? What did he do to expose those calling for open violence? And if he did nothing, why? Does he believe that only chanting Jai Shri Ram constitutes a provocation? His own super boss, Rahul Gandhi, lectures all India on how majoritarianism is eating into the secular fabric of this nation. Viewers, why then are leaders of the Congress party fanning another kind of hate, Islamist hate? Certainly two wrongs don't make a right. Surely they don't, viewers. We put some questions to this Congress Neta, but he was evasive, constantly stressing on the fact that he was calming people down. Viewers, if you're part of an illegal activity and you don't report it, then you become an accomplice. Who are these people wanting to behead? It is the police. It is an accused. This kind of provocation, viewers, is just as bad as what we hear from the Hindu fringe. Both must be condemned unequivocally. But only one side is, and that's the problem. This particular incident, this violence, happened despite the police taking action, timely action. There was a provocation. But should the response have been violent? Should it have been a shockingly derelict of the law? No, viewers, that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. First, listen in to the Congress Neta, Altaf Halur.
मैं बोला कुछ नारे मत मारिए, कानून अपने हाथ में मत लियो, कानून अपना काम कर रहा है करके मैं अपील किया उनको। मैं पुलिस का मुख मन के जीप के ऊपर चढ़ के बोला आप ऐसे वैसे नारे मत मारो। पुलिस उसको अरेस्ट की है और उसके ऊपर एफआईआर हो रहा है, आप लोग अपने घर को छाती दी जाए करके बोला। फिर वो नहीं सुने, मैं बाजू मस्जिद में जाकर मस्जिद का माइक लेकर उनको मैं जो अपील किया वो मैं आपको ये नंबर पर सेंड करता हूँ। पॉलिटिकल लिंक नहीं, ये लोग टोटली जब हुबली के अंदर कुछ इंसिडेंट होते हैं तो कुछ लोग है ग्रुप आते हैं, लेकिन ये टोटली नया पेश था, नए लगे। सबका 30 ईयर्स 22 ईयर्स के अंदर के लोग हैं, इनको कभी भी कानून की मार नहीं पड़ी, वो लोग इतना किसी की सुने नहीं। अगर फ्री प्लान है तो दोनों का मिल के होगा, फ्री प्लान गलाटे करने वाला पर पूरे चलने वाला पर।
If it's pre-planned, then both should be punished. But till this video wasn't actually analyzed, till it wasn't accessed by Times Now, this particular Congress district president of Hubli has not done his part, viewers. He represents, at least if you are to believe his bosses, a party that believes in inclusive politics. This is not inclusive politics. Deepak Bopanna joins me. Deepak, these protests, these vile slogans are being uttered despite timely action by the police. Can you confirm that the police actually acted? They didn't wait for these provocateurs to show up there. This almost reminds me of Chori Chora. This is terrible.
Yes, Rahul, we should understand that on the 16th, while this social media post, of course, went viral, there were a lot of people who gathered outside Abhishek Hiremat, who, of course, posted this social media post, which, of course, created a lot of anger amongst a community. They gathered outside the house. There was, of course, a risk that they could attack the house and him inside. The police at that point in time have gotten hold of him. They've taken him from that location, taken him to the police station, and were, taking up the complaints that were coming in. We should understand during this time, like the Congress leader, who of course says that he was there, he, along with several other people and even an AIMM leader as well, went to the police station asking the police to take stringent action against him, to register an FIR. All of this was happening while, the crowds that were gathered outside began to shout these sort of slogans. Now, the shocking part here is, while the police, of course, were saying that, they are going to take up the FIR, they are going to register it under the relevant sections that that apply to this particular case because of what he has done in terms of a social media post and also disrupting communal harmony and various other aspects. The people wouldn't just listen. What they wanted was instant mob justice. What they were calling for is beheading of this particular person. They wanted the police to hand over the accused to them so that they could behead him if you go by what the slogans that they were raising. The Congress leader himself confirms that these slogans were raised at that location. He of course says that he tried to tell them not to do that. Now we should also understand that we've also accessed a couple of FIRs in this particular case where the police themselves say that many police vehicles, while policemen themselves were trying to get to that particular area to ensure that the law and order is maintained, they were attacked. And they say that the police have not acted in this particular case, and we should kill them. They've in fact this is an account of one of the policemen whose his account itself is mentioned in the FIR, where he says that he had to leave his bike there and flee as his bike continuously was pelted with stones. He too was injured after a couple of stones hit him. Like you were mentioning, of course, about a dozen policemen here have been injured. Another jeep as well, which came in with policemen towards the people who were gathered outside the police station. They too were threatened with murder. Stones were pelted at their vehicle as well. So it's quite shocking that all of this transpired while, of course, the police had this man inside the police station taking up the complaint, willing to listen to the crowds that were there. So what was the reason behind actually shouting such slogans, calling for beheading of a person? Now the police, of course, on their part are saying that all of these videos are in their possession, apart from the videos that were shot by some of the rioters there, which they have gotten hold of. The police teams itself have recorded certain footages. Over 100 people taken into custody as of now. Questioning is going on as to who were the instigators, whether any organizations behind it or any political parties behind it, and all the unseen hands and all of these aspects now being investigated.
Well, Deepak, just stay on with me, because viewers, you won't believe this. There is actually a group of political parties who came out and protested the fact that the police later on effected arrests to ensure that these hate mongers are being brought to justice. In fact, they called it heavy-handedness, the BJP state government's heavy-handedness. Several policemen are beaten black and blue. There is a massive assemblage of people outside their police station calling for their beheading, as well as the accused beheading. There was a rationalization of vigilantism. And there are political parties, mainstream political parties. I'm not talking about fringe groups, viewers. Mainstream political parties saying that heavy-handed action against a community is visible. And this is what appeasement is doing. It is emboldening the fringe. And viewers, I'm not singling out one side or the other. There are Yati Narsinganans, and they should also be acted upon. And they are. And there are protests. So it's happening on both sides. But this, viewers, is never highlighted. The onus is always on the majority community to keep the peace. And if there is action against minorities who've stepped out of line by using language such as this, and once again, viewers, I want to talk about the fact that this particular footage will distress people. It is provocative, but it is by no way endorsed by Times Now. And most importantly, the purpose of airing this video is to bring hate speech to the notice of authorities so that timely action can be taken to apprehend all of those who might be liable or likely to repeat. Now listen to what Tanveer Ahmed, JDS leader, had to say about the arrest that police made to punish those who were uttering these frightful slogans. Listen to this.
Provocation and stone throwing is definitely not going to help both the communities. Whatever is the provocation, the stone throwing is definitely not an answer. But the fringe elements at both the sides are absolutely taking use of the situation. Who is suffering here? The country is. And the police have arrested more than 200 people, and we don't know how many of them are innocents there. We need to really determine, discuss and see whether they have arrested culprits or they have arrested innocents. Because right now we all know that the heavy-handedness of BJP towards a particular sect of community is really shown across the country, and this is exactly what the Karnataka Chief Minister is also following.
Again, viewers, an attempt to rationalize this unhinged reaction. There's nothing else to say, it's unhinged. Now listen to D.K. Shivkumar, the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee Chief, the president of that. He comes out and says that the Congress leader got on top of the car to pacify the crowd. And if he is involved, arrest him. No condemnation, viewers, of what we are hearing. Instead, he begins to target the BJP. Listen in yourself.
Where is that? If BJP, Yedurappa and so many, the central minister, the local MP is accusing Congress. If Congress have done, let them arrest them. Why they are not still? They are telling that my DCC president is involved. Mr. DCC president was being called by the police officers to make a Shanti program, situation, make it calm. And he stood on the police jeep itself, and he has, with a mic, he is requesting them, you please go. And he was also been, stone was been pelted, and his hand has been fractured. If my congressman has been involved and they have done, please arrest them. I am telling you, they are not burning, they are not looking at politics, they are only looking at politics. They are killing Karnataka.
They're killing Karnataka is the allegation from the Congress chief. Let me go back to Deepak. Deepak, we've heard, of course, the political reactions. The BJP has, of course, come out and condemned it, that they would do, obviously. But I want to ask you, what's been the action on the ground against some of these provocateurs? Where are they? Are they still in custody? Have they been released?
Well, Rahul, because of the sheer number of people who are involved in rioting, the police, of course, even I spoke to some of the senior police officers. They're saying rounding up of the accused still continues, and they are, of course, seeking judicial custody as they get hold of these people. Some of them, they say, they have solid evidence against them. Of course, we've seen some of the videos which are themselves provocatory in nature. There is, of course, CCTV cameras. There are other mobile footages shot by the cops themselves and some of the locals there, which the police have, which shows the pictures of these people who are pelting stones at the policemen as well. So based on each of the offences, they will be booked, and as of now they're saying because of so many people involved, they will first focus on getting hold of all of them because they do not want them to escape. Each and every one will be brought to book is what the police are saying. So probably in the next 24 to 48 hours we will see in detail about each of the accused, what was their role, and which are the organizations they came from, and all of these details will of course come out as the investigation continues in this matter.
Thank you very much. Just stay on with me. I want to open this up. I want to join Anurag Naidu, Gokul Chandran, Shahid Ali, advocate and president of the United Muslims Front. With us also is Anila Singh of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, I want to first come out to you, Mr. Gokul Chandran. I can't understand this. This particular video suppressed. No Congress top leader has come out and issued a suo motu statement condemning this, like you do when the Hindu fringe, and very rightly so, steps out of line. Why, sir? Are you blind, deaf to what is happening on one side of the political fence because it suits your narrative?
Good evening, Rahul. It is very amusing to see in such a situation also, instead of pacifying the nation, pacifying the crowds, or cooling down the tensions, you are taking this as an opportunity to target Congress and Congress leaders. If that will solve the issue, then I will also join you, and I will also join your bandwagon and do the same thing. But please understand, when you question the Congress leaders, if that is the stand, if this is a political show, in Tamil and Malayalam, you know what Bommai means? Bommai means a doll. So exactly, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Bommai, is sitting like a doll, and he's not even able to control any situation in the state. And he has to finally, his police has to finally resort to the DCC president to pacify the crowd. That is the state of affairs in Karnataka today. You question the state, you question the government, you question the bureaucracy. Instead of that, we will not get into politics and question why Congress is not doing this, why Congress is
I'll tell you
not
why,
doing
sir.
that.
I'll tell you why. Because you can't absolve yourself of responsibility when the putative president of the Congress party, national president, the putative national president, someone who aspires to that office and will perhaps be in that office sooner than later, comes out and rationalizes vigilantism. Let me play out, viewers, what Rahul Gandhi stands for. And my fear is, one second, Mr. Chandran, give me 30 seconds. My fear is that when influential leaders like Rahul Gandhi come out and speak like this, they end up inciting people to take the law into their own hands. Listen first to what Rahul Gandhi said a few days back, before this incident. Listen in.
कहा अगर मैं आपकी जगह होता और मैं अपने आप को लाश बनाने के लिए तैयार होता, आत्महत्या करने के लिए तैयार होता, तो आत्महत्या करने से पहले पता लगाता ये कौन है जिसने मेरे भाई को मारा, रसोई से चाकू निकालता, बस में जाता, उसके घर जाता, छाती में छुरा मार देता.
There you go, viewers. Now, what am I supposed to take away from this? A young person watching this will say, oh, Rahul Gandhi, a very intelligent man, extremely well spoken, the leader, a potential prime minister of the country is telling me, like his father in fact said some decades back, that it's okay. It's okay to partake of retributive violence and justice. It's okay, it's fine. They'll do this. That's why I'm asking you this question. Of course, I'll ask Anila Singh questions. But I'm only saying, sir, when Yati Narsinganand jumps up and makes communal speeches, your political party turns around and asks the BJP why it is weaponizing Jai Shri Ram. I can ask you the same.
Yeah, Rahul.
Because you seem to be allowing people to weaponize these kind of slogans. And these are serious slogans, sir, calling for the beheading of policemen. In fact, in my hand is the FIR.
Exactly.
And in this FIR, Manjunath Rayaradi, who is one of the policemen, what does he say? He says the mob threatened to kill the police and also pelted stones at them. And your Congress leader never went and filed an FIR, sir. Why?
Yeah, Rahul, when you listen to Rahul Gandhi's speech, he was talking about Dalit empowerment. That is the message he was giving. Anyone who is listening to that speech, only if they will take to violence and not the other good part, then it is the issue of that person who is
listening. Oh, I see. It is an issue of that person. Okay, sir. We are all mentally deformed here. We don't understand things when they are told to us. Yeah. We are lacking in intellect. So we can't understand the complex ideas that are presented by Rahul Gandhi. We can't understand those very complex ideas. Well, then he should keep them to himself. Clearly, he's not a good communicator. Because if this is what is coming out of his mouth, and that's the reaction on the ground, then people are going to ask you and the political party and the Congress ecosystem what is going on. Now wait a minute.
In power today.
Wait a minute.
Rahul,
Anila Singh.
Mr. Rahul, if that's the case, Rahul Gandhi would have been in power.
Right. So you're acknowledging that his messaging is irrelevant. That what he says
Messaging is irrelevant.
is not even qualified to be accepted. Then he should keep his opinions to himself, because clearly there are some people who get extremely influenced. Now 1 minute. Anila Singh, I just want to ask you this question. The Congress says that, look, you need us to enforce law and order. This is a persistent complaint against the BJP. Wherever you're ruling, in certain states, there have been these incidents, and your police has been incapable of controlling situations.
My ram to everyone, and it is running on your channel as well. Gusta ke Rasool ki ek hi saza, sar tan se juda, sar tan se juda. So we do not have any rule or law system or legal system or judicial system in our country. This is what Congress supporter is saying right now. This is what other political parties are saying right now. They do not have any words to condemn when people say Gustakh Rasool ki ek hi saja, sar tan se juda, sar tan se juda. So we should finish our judicial system here. And if somebody says that the police administration system of all the BJP ruled states have gone on vacation, then they should check their facts. They should check their facts, and it proves that attack on Ram Navami Shobha Yatra or the incident as we are discussing right now, they all are sponsored. Because they do not want harmony in this country. Because India is reaching to different heights under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. So these political parties whose leader stands on stage and says, "Agar meri behan ko kuch hota to main chaku se maar deta."
Well,
this person is telling to take.
Well, madam, a large number of people are also saying that you also call upon stage those that are guilty of spreading hate speech when they come out on bail. So that is also being said. So let's not make this completely one-sided. I think both sides need to come out and need to take responsibility, but principally those that incite mobs such as these. Why are they not rusticated from the membership of their parties? I don't know. In this particular case, this individual should be. But what does D.K. Shivkumar say? Oh, arrest him if he's so guilty. I dare you, do it. Gokul Chandran, this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. You know that you're crossing a line. You know that your appeasement is getting the better of you. Nonetheless, let me bring in Shahid Ali, advocate and president of the United Muslims Front. Shahid Ali, do you endorse this?
I say that there is provision in IPC under section 153A IPC. Hate speech is a punishable offences. Whosoever is making a hate speech, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of the caste, action should be taken. Action should be taken against Thinanand. Action should be taken against these men, those whosoever is making hate speech. In fact, the politics of hate now should be ended. Now should come to an end.
Okay.
We all should make efforts. We all should make efforts that politics of hate now should come to an end.
Someone needs to play statesman. Someone needs to play statesman. Anurag Naidu. No. Anurag Naidu. Go ahead.
Rahul, first of all, let me stand with you and second your thought and unequivocally condemn this incident. But Rahul, my larger pain is why we are letting this political exploitation of social harmony go on, and particularly in the state of Karnataka. This has to stop. We are straight away putting the connections. Now we have put a connection with the Congress leader trying to incite the violence. We have also put out information on AIMM leader's husband being arrested, taken into custody by the police. Last we heard is when JDS leaders were involved with the hijab controversies, where we had Congress leaders involved in that. What is it? What are we doing? Whenever there is a controversy, we take one step towards investigation, and when we find a political nexus, we find a political connection. When are we going to keep and do an end to this? And somebody was talking about Mr. Bommai. I think the state government was reasonably good enough in tackling with controversies like hijab. They stood by the rules. There was an RSS leader who was murdered. Within 36 hours, all the 4 people who were responsible for the murder were arrested. So the action was taken by the government. Even now, the person who posted a derogatory remark, though he was a Hindu, he was arrested in no time. And action has been taken by the state government. Let us also appreciate. But instead of appreciating, we are finding a communal angle and we are trying to drag this issue and make it a larger narrative.
Absolutely.
Which is
let me tell
to
you, viewers,
destabilize the peace
let me
of
tell you,
Karnataka.
if you're going to selectively criticize hate, the problem won't go away.
Absolutely right.
Unequivocally, go after the hate mongers. You will not have a problem. Yogi Adityanath has done that. He has proven it.
Yes.
He's drawn lines for those who want to take out processions on both sides. Viewers, that's the way forward.